Okay, so welcome everybody to today's presentation. Glad to have you here, and I wanted to welcome our guest speaker today. And I didn't even ask you this before we started. Just Marie, or
Yeah, Marie's
yeah,
fine
okay,
because
yes,
Marie-Pier, a whole lot of people have a hard time with it. So Marie's fine.
okay, sounds good. We are so excited to have her. She's a storyteller, marketing coach, and mentor. She's been in business since 2020. She's fluent in both French and English. Was born and raised in Hearst, Ontario. Has well over 80 clients in Ontario, Quebec, New Brunswick, and France. And she has over 15 years of combined experiences in customer experience and sales. She's worked as a marketing manager from 2015 to 2020 at PepsiCo Corp, which has locations in Hearst, Thunder Bay, Timmins, Long Lac, and Montreal. So I wanted to welcome you today, and we really appreciate you being here.
Wow, what a nice welcome. Thank you so much. I didn't even expect to have like Paro team members with me. So you're going to monitor the chat and everything. I just need to have fun with everyone who's present with me. That's so fun. I'm so excited. Hello, everyone. Don't be shy to open your camera. If you want to leave it shut, it's okay. No problem. And as Laurie said, you're Laurie, right? Okay, I haven't seen you, but we spoke on the phone. Okay, so as Laurie said, please use the chat if you want to ask questions, put in the comments. You could also, if you take your mouse under everyone's faces, you have like the mute button, like to open your camera, and there's this reaction button. You can raise your hand. I'm so open to having a conversation, like you will see in my probably third slide. I didn't really do well in school because like listening for an hour for me just didn't cut it. So if you want to just jump in, go right ahead. Before we start, could you just tell me what you guys do? What kind of businesses do you have? I'm curious. Oh,
Yeah, sure.
Can you grant me
And
the permission to share my screen?
yes, for sure.
Perfect.
Oh, sorry. I think, yeah,
Do
yeah,
I?
you could.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. And if
Super.
anybody wants to speak for now, you can go ahead and speak and let us know what business you have. And if not, want to put in the
Yeah,
chat,
right.
I'm
I'm
watching
sorry.
that
I'm
too.
just gonna keep there it is. Okay, so can everybody see my screen right now?
Yep, you can see it.
Super. So what I'll do, I'll try not to get you guys dizzy, but I don't love speaking for a whole hour and seeing you in these tiny bits, rectangles. So I'll go back and forth in my presentation and I'll come back to connect with you. Okay, let's get started. I did this morning. I'm like super spontaneous. Let's go. So excited to be here. Thank you for this opportunity. So today's topic is connecting with your audience through storytelling and vulnerability. I know that a lot of you might be afraid or scared or hesitant to be vulnerable because you might think that you will not be credible enough. Or what happens is that sometimes women want to open up and share, but like they forget that they want to remain in that leadership role. And it comes across a bit of nagging. So it has to be done in the right way. So this is what we're going to discuss today. Bummer. Your future customer doesn't care about your needs and wants. Okay. Chill. It's okay. I said your future customer because people that already bought from you, they watch your video stuff, your lives, they listen to you on audio, they read your newsletter, they connect with your social media posts. Then, yes, they are interested in what goes on in your life. However, we're going to talk about a bit the customer journey further on this presentation. That's what I did when I launched my business. I'm a goal getter. I launched my business when I had one customer. I have no clue why I did that, but it turned out great. My focus was to get my name on the map, to be known for an expertise, people that would trust me quickly, and I wanted my name to travel all around. So what I did first, I did a lot of educational content because people didn't know me at that time. What I needed to do was to collect shares and likes and comments and to grow my audience. Once I filtered these people and I have an audience of people who are interested to like level up their marketing or whatever, and they already trust what I say and they engage and they love my values and what I think of this and that concept or whatever, then I could go and talk about whatever, my kids, my husband, my house, my this and my that, you know? So basically they want to know how you can help them achieve their goals. And most importantly, why they should trust you. Does this make sense to you? Just want to make sure in the chat. Okay. Design your jewelry, holistic practitioner, CPA accountant. Wow. This is a lot of variety. Oh my gosh. Cool. I'm just reading through the chat. My daughter and I create and sell African language learning, coloring, and picture books. Ooh, that is so cool. Awesome. Okay, let's get back to it. Jen on the go delivery. Oh, is that like a UPS kind of private thing? Do people call you and say, hey, Jen, can you bring this box of tools to this garage or whatever? Or do you?
Yeah, people called me and asked me to pick up stuff delivered, companies, personal. And I also drive people and personal shopper too.
Wow.
Yeah.
So your customer experience is a big deal.
Yeah, so I'm not using DoorDash or anything like that. It's just customer calls me, my company, and asks me to do these.
And how do they know that you exist?
Well, my website is half done, but
Okay.
it's out. And I do Google and Instagram and Facebook and
Right.
word of mouth. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
so-
Because having a website is not really a strategy. It's an action that you put in place. But if no one gets to your website, like it could be money in the drain. Wow, congratulations. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, thanks.
Fantastic. Okay. So, you know what? I think, okay, there it is. I hate Canva. I will just get out of the presenter window because skip for now. Okay, I just want to. Okay, there it is. So a little bit about me. Lori already introduced me. Thank you for doing so. I was born and raised in Hearst. Still live here. Never left. I met my husband here, and we are 5,000. There wasn't that many choices, but happily, he's my type. So I'm really happy. French is my first language. I'm Sagittarius. I'm a generator in human design. I don't know if you know about human design. I discovered human design this year and it changed my whole life. This being said, being a generator, I really feed off what the environment shows me. So if you have any questions or comments, you are not interrupting me at all. Please feel free to do so. I didn't do that well in school. I hated the system. I was the girl that was always doing the clown and talking loud and going to the principal's office. Could you tell? I failed math in high school and college. I failed accounting in college and university. And yet I am being an entrepreneur. And yes, I can read my numbers, no problem. I love sports. I love hanging out and meeting new people, but I'm also a hermit. When people ask me, Do you find it boring to like work alone all day? I'm like, well, half of the time I'm on Zoom, and the other half of the time I like really focus in my work. I'm in my bubble. Life is good. Yep. Okay, so who here has already heard about the customer journey? I'm sure a lot of you may. Okay, Melissa, hand is up. Do I see other people? Right. Okay, so you could learn it in 3 phases, like connection, conversion, and retention. I like to teach it in 5 steps. So you have the awareness, and then they have to connect. So whenever you see someone say, oh my God, I gained 2,000 followers this month, like to me, this doesn't say much. To be frank, I couldn't care less, because I will be plain honest with you. I did a big mistake when I launched my business, okay? Because I wanted to work quickly, because I wanted to leave my job. So I created my Facebook page, and then I invited all my Facebook friends to like this page and follow me, so I would have a following, so that my ego could go to sleep happily. What happened is that although they were very happy to support me by saying, oh, wow, she launched her business, that is really cool. After 1 post, 2 posts, 3 posts, my ex-employer, my friend from high school, if they're not a women entrepreneur looking to thrive and like step up their game in their marketing, they are not my ideal client. What happens? They don't care about my posts. They don't engage. So my algorithm goes down. So aim for quality and not quantity. It's more durable. It takes time and patience and courage and the right mindset, but it will happen. So you want to be seen, you want people to connect with you, and then you want to be considered. Because how many women entrepreneurs do we see online and say, wow, she's so inspiring. I love the quote she posts. Oh, I love her. She's well put together, blah, blah, blah. But if you needed her service, would you go to her? Would you really, really go to her? If so, why? And if not, why not? Then, if you are considered, you obviously want to convert. And then you want them to come back again and talk good about you to all their friends and become your best ambassador. How many of you know a bit about storytelling? By show of hands. Ish? Cool. Okay. Awesome. I didn't make this up. These are Donald Miller's words. I read this book when I was still at my job. I came back from my second maternity leave, and like my boss, he wanted to go like a different way with this marketing. So he discovered Donald Miller, and thank God he did. I'm not even sure if I would have launched my business not having known this. Anyways, so storytelling hacks is that your ideal customer is the main character. I don't want to burst your bubble, but people are kind of selfish. Hear me out. People want to know what you can do for me. I need help. I. Remember in the beginning, I told you they don't really care that much about. Have you ever seen, you probably will say yes. Have you ever seen a woman do MLM, like Beachbody, Tupperware? Okay. What do they say? Oh my God, please help me reach my goal. I really want to go on this trip, blah, blah, blah. If you know the girl, you really want her to get the trip, you may want to buy her products. But what's in it for me? Why? We all have goals. Why? Please tell me why I should. The reason is because I need what you're selling. And the positive consequence is that you will reach your goal. Plain as that. So they have a problem. They have a desire. There's a villain that keeps them from attaining it. And that makes them feel helpless, tired, exhausted, overwhelmed, discouraged. Now, you are the guide with a solution and a plan, so their story can end happily or not. Again, you want to be careful not to always talk about like you're feeling this way. You don't want to shame the other person. However, you want them to feel like, oh my God, she knows me. She's speaking to me. This is it. I want to work with her. I need this. Do you get what I'm saying? Does this make sense? Okay, cool. I'm just gonna go back in the chat. Do you all sell products, or there are people that do services? I saw earlier CPA Holistic. I know that I recognized the name earlier. I think Kara's there. Okay, I already talked to her. Just gonna go through the chat. Service. Okay, cool. Super. Hi, I work as an Android developer, but I have an idea to develop it, but I don't know how I can do it. Android developer. What does that do? Would it be like you want to be hired by Android, or would people with a Samsung phone call you instead of the company? Services lawyer. Okay, perfect. Super. Thank you, ladies. So I'll let you answer and I'll just go on. Experts say that there are 6 elements of influence. There is the reciprocity, so having things in common. You might think that your life and your story is boring and no one will care about it. Remember, I'm talking about your engaged audience. Maybe people in your newsletter, if you have a Facebook group, people in your stories, people that are already following you on Facebook, TikTok, or whatever. But some women choose not to talk about their family and kids. That's fine. Some people talk about them, don't show them on pictures. That's fine. Some people like me talk about them all over again, again and again, and show pictures, and this is still fine, okay? But by doing so, first off, I celebrate my life. I like sharing. I'm an extrovert. Then, it's always fun to know that the other person understands you. And I know that many of my clientele has kids. Why wouldn't I talk about kids? Why wouldn't I talk about how doable it is to like have a business with success and with young kids? Why would I not create content to like entertain them and make them laugh? You know? Okay. So the second one is engagement. Have you ever heard of a lead magnet? Okay. You know what it is, you just probably didn't make the connection. So a lead magnet is something to attract leads that are filtered potential customers. A lead magnet could be a masterclass. It could be a white paper, workbook. It could be a boot camp. It could be a sample or whatever. What I understand about a book I read, and it makes total sense, is that if people engaged with you already in something really small, you go up a rank. So if they need to go further, will they go with this person they don't know? Or will they choose to go with this person that they already had an exchange with? Does this make sense? So this is what lead magnets are for. It's to, one, filter your audience. I would rather have someone download a free guide or whatever and realize I'm not the person for her, and she just unsubscribes from my newsletter, instead of going back and forth every night, talking with her. And then, would you like to go on a sales call? And then she comes on a sales call. And then we realize, oh my God, you don't need a coach. You need a virtual assistant. This happened in the beginning. People came on sales calls and they needed to delegate to either a virtual assistant or a social media manager. And I was like, oh my God, why didn't you know I was a coach? I cannot help you. I know who can, but just save us some time, you know? So I love sharing my mistakes because we can all learn from them. Friendliness. People want ease. They want simplicity. Plain as that. A lot of my clients or people in my Facebook group, sometimes they want to take shortcuts. And I always ask them, does it serve you or does it serve your customer, or both parties? If you're taking a shortcut that only serves you, not a good idea. I would rather work twice as hard and put something in place that will simplify my customer's processes or steps she has to take. Do you understand what I'm saying? Makes sense, eh? So these on the left, can we agree that it's kind of friendly, building relationships? So the ones on the right, we have the social proof. How many of you have testimonials of screenshots of audio in your folders that you haven't posted already? How many of you are afraid to ask for a testimonial? And don't be shy, you wouldn't be the first one, I can guarantee. Sometimes people are so afraid to ask, but the reality is we are so busy, we just don't take the 5 minutes it takes to write a testimonial. Or people have a hard time with writing, so they would rather just share by audio and you write it for them. How about you make it so easy for them that it's kind of impossible to say no? That's what I do. I offer brainstorming sessions, okay? So they book through Calendly. You know what Calendly is? Okay. So they book through Calendly, and then I automated like 24 hours. There's a reminder, and then we meet. And I always go over. So by the time the 90 minutes is over, they receive another email that says, hey, how was it? Would you like to share your experience on my group? And it happened on last Friday. I was like, we were ending the session and she was like, hey, I just received a second email from you. Oh, well, of course I'll do this for you. And she just did it this morning. She left me a testimonial in my group this morning. Because it's kind of awkward to go back like 8 weeks later and say, hey, do you remember the time? Yeah, I feel that we really like hit a home run. How would you feel about, oh my God. Oof. Just, do you want a trick? Ask when you are in service or right after. Bonus points if you can automate this task. And it could be done really simply. Credibility. How can you make people trust you? with the pandemic, we saw a lot of people go online with their business. There are plenty of excellent people, and there are plenty of not so much excellent people. It's hard for people. I'm going to speak in my field with coaching. It's like people were promised, you're going to grow your business by 10K in 3 months if you follow these 3 simple steps. And it kind of removed the responsibility from the client. And here, take this, and your life will be great every day, and you won't have to face any challenges. What happened? They realized it wasn't true. So they are really hesitant to buy coaching again. I have a lot of damage control to do. And this can happen in products too. If you buy, I don't know, jewelry, and the package comes, it's all broken down and it's all dirty, or hey, you could have taken the time to wrap it up real nice, and I don't know, pure later, they dropped it. It can happen. And fear. I'm going to put a star here, okay? Because I'm not really the girl that does her marketing based on fear. However, I do sometimes. You could put a deadline to register to something. You could offer a rebate if people buy before a certain date. But too much is like not enough. People go overboard sometimes, and they make you believe that if you don't, especially in services, if you don't buy from them, you're kind of stupid, and like you have no self-esteem and no self-worth, and you don't choose yourself, and you are pushover, and like this is too much for me. I really don't appreciate this. And I hope that you don't have to live this in your life. I went on a sales call with this guy back in June 2020. I was still full-time employed. And they were the big guys. Like you could see them, YouTube ads, Facebook ads. I just decided, okay, I'll go on a call. Like I joined their Facebook group, and right off the bat, cold call. Hey, welcome, blah, blah. Would you like to come on a sales call? Okay, sure, I'll go. I'm just trying to figure out what I'm doing with my life. And the guy, I could tell I was getting on his last nerve. I was asking lots of questions, and he would answer vaguely. And when I asked him, well, how much is your coaching? He said, well, it's between 3,000 and 15,000. I'm like, no, that's not an answer. And he was promising me the moon. And I was like, okay, but how, and I was trying to corner him. I was just trying to really make my idea of this coaching. And he told me, you're not coachable. And yeah, that wasn't fun. But now I just think of it and I'm like, he had an agenda. And it didn't work, and he wasn't happy about it. You are better off going with the objective to serve the other person and make them feel good. Even if they won't buy from you, you could refer them to someone. You could give them a tip before they leave. So then maybe they don't buy from you. Will they refer you? Perhaps. So I see Melissa nodding. So important. Now, the tricky thing is careful not to get friend zoned. I see this all the time. Of course, okay, I'll go to the next slide. So how to be vulnerable and keep your leadership or guide role. So the key to gain trust is to show, wow, I did this last minute. That's funny, is to show empathy. Okay. However, by showing too much empathy, you could get friend zoned because people will relate to you and they'll just want to go on a cup of coffee or just want to hang out. I see this all the time. And I did experience this in the beginning. People would schedule sales calls with me. Of course, they would show up because they are interested. They connected with me. My processes, automations are in place. They get reminders. I don't do cold calls. So they chose to do the action. Remember the engagement principle of the influence? They took the action. So they don't want to miss it. But we would talk and talk and talk and nothing would happen. So the key to be credible is to demonstrate that you know the way. However, by not showing enough empathy, you might come across as cold or inaccessible. So this could be done with practice. I see a lot of women thinking, oh, I have a lead right there. Oh, this might end up in a sale or whatever. And people just, okay, how do you know you got friend zoned? People go in your messenger, ask for free advice. They go on sales call and they weren't prepared to buy, or they just wanted to really validate stuff. They say you're inspiring. Stop there. This is how you get friend zone. It's not fun to be friend zone because it's really hard to get out of this friend zone. It's not because you get friend zone with one person that you'll be friend zone with everyone. But go back to high school. If you would friend zone a guy or a girl, they could try and try. It's sorry, you're in this box. You're my friend. Nothing's gonna happen. I'm sorry. So this is what kind of happens with your audience. I want to ask you, is vulnerability challenging for you in your marketing, in your business? You can put it in the chat if you prefer, or you can open your mic and your camera and you can just hop in.
What was the question?
Do you find it challenging to be vulnerable? To show vulnerability?
Sometimes.
Melissa
You
said
know
in the
why?
chat, sometimes she said she's too vulnerable at times. And Cecilia said, I'm open to vulnerable. So
Super. Okay. Melissa says I'm too vulnerable at times. And how does this translate?
I get put into that friend zone, right? So now that you're talking about it, I recognize what it is that I'm doing. It's not a matter of them losing respect for the support I offer. However, there comes a point where I feel like you almost get taken advantage of because you're so vulnerable and accessible, right? And then you try to put a boundary into place to do that. Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing. I have tips. What was it? Oh, so if a person comes to you in Messenger and says, oh, what about this? What about that? What about this? What about that? You could always answer by saying, well, okay, here's a quick tip. Maybe you could this. Maybe you could do whatever, and then add. And if you take a session, this could be discussed further on. Like that's what I do. People do this all the time. If I don't mind giving away a free tip that I have already given on a live, they could catch anyways. So I would say, well, what you're saying right now with the time we have, or I could say this in Messenger on a sales call. I could say what right now, maybe you could try this. However, if you were to take my coaching, we would go really deep in this and you would get all my best advice. So you give a bit, but you stand your ground, and they have to understand that your time is valuable and your advice is too.
Marie, do you feel though, and maybe I'm not too sure if most of your clients are women or not, do you feel though that maybe in respect with, women, and we have tendencies to show empathy, to be pleasing, to be providers and care for others, that it makes it more difficult for us to set those boundaries and to become more vulnerable as an opportunity to connect with our customers and clients?
That is a really good question. We all have wounds. Oh man, we are afraid of being abandoned. We are afraid of being rejected. We really need, I haven't done this much work, this much personal development. Oh my gosh, being an entrepreneur is crazy. So there's that. On top of this, there's your personality. Have you ever received, maybe it's a good topic for the future, someone that does personality tests like DISC or NOVA, those 4 colors, but it's not the true color. Yeah. Okay. Well, okay. By a show of hands, because I don't want to speak Chinese right now or foreign language. I'm sorry. I don't want to offend anyone. Do you know, a show of hands, who knows NOVA here or DISC? Okay, I'll make it really simple. There's one personality that is goal-oriented, go-getter. She moves fast, she talks loud. That's me. There's another personality that likes to have fun and is really bubbly. Melissa has that trait too. Usually you lead with 2. There's this personality that is, I would see Kara, because we already spoken, likes to take care of others, more settled. She might avoid conflict because she likes peace. My mom is like that. My mom tells me a story and I'm like, oh my God, get to the point, And there's this 4th personality of people that are really on point. They are like, their house is clean as a magazine. They will follow every step. Like, teachers will love them. So to answer your question, yes, we have wounds. So yes, we want to please. Yes, we have the fear of lack. So what if I turn her down? Or what if I don't let her take advantage of me? What if she leaves? She was so close of buying from me. What do I? It comes with practice, and it depends. I don't know, if I'm PMS and I'm really tired, maybe it's not black or white. But you deserve to put your limits as an entrepreneur, I believe. And it might and probably will end up better than you anticipated. We anticipate the worst. People respect people that respect themselves. I'll tell you something that happened to me last week, okay? So I have this VIP experience. You have 6 months to my membership. You have access to almost every course I have, and you have private coaching. This client, she took 2 brainstorming sessions before taking this one. And then she came back for just the membership. So she's really a returning customer, okay? But she's always looking for approval. She has a lot of stuff to deal with. And I saw her the other day. She took this other program. And I was like, oh my God, you're all over the place. You already have all the answers in you. Anyways, fast forward a few days, she writes me an email. She suddenly asks for a refund. I've been working with the girl for a year. She knows that my mastermind is every Tuesday at noon. It's been like that for a year. All of a sudden, this schedule doesn't work anymore. Huh. Took a deep breath. I have a non-refund policy. So I wrote back to her because my clients are really well informed of what they are purchasing. Even if you have a change of heart, even if whatever happens, we can, space out your payments or whatever. But if you change your mind, hey, you made an engagement. Anyway, so I replied to her, hi, X. I trust that you will make time in your schedule to come to the coachings. And if you listen and replay, that's totally fine. What matters is that you listen when you're not bothered and you're in the right mindset. Talk to you soon, Mary, whatever. And she replied, oh, okay. I just thought I'd ask. Like I expected her to be like red, angry, or, ooh, because, it seems to be that she could love me, but all of a sudden she wants to quit. I'm like, oh my God, what is that? And next thing you know, a few hours later, she was at the coaching. I took a few minutes with her. We talked about whatever challenge she had in her business. And she's, oh my God, I'm really happy I came today. I was like, well, duh, I know. So, but oh man, if this would have happened like a year ago, a year and a half ago, I would have said, okay, no problem. And I was, oh my God, my business is going down the drain. People are not happy with me. Hey, it's an opinion of one person. Your worth doesn't depend on anyone. It's really tough. We go for outside validation all the time. My clients that come to me, hey, I wanted to post a thing about this. What do you think? I reply, what do you think? And I do this with my kids all the time. How could we empower women if we decide for them all the time? This will just create a pattern that they want to do it. I'll ask before, but why? Why? What could go wrong anyways? You know what's fun about the digital? It costs zero unless you're paying ads. Let's say you post something and you decide to remove it. You can. I suggest you leave it there. But if you are very uncomfortable, just remove it. Costs $0. Did I answer your question? Because I could go on and on and on and on and on. Perfect. Thank you so much. Kara says, love, vulnerability, and boundaries. Sure. This live I did in my group, it's like, okay, I'm just looking at the time, 15 minutes left. You know what? We won't stop for a Q&A. So whatever comments you have, put it in the chat right now. So a while back, I did a live and I explained why I was in business. And I explained that I worked at Pepco. Can you imagine that I used to create content like French, English for policies, for Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and newsletter for a petroleum company? Oh my gosh. Hydraulic oils, hoses, earplugs, knives, whatever you can make. It was so boring. On top of that, I used to do more research than writing because let's face it, it's not because I'm a girl. It's just that my field of interests is not really in those topics. Anyways, the CEO was a guy, the VPs were all guys, the directors are all guys. And every time a woman could scale up and climb that ladder, something would happen. And me, pandemic hit. Hey, why not ask for a raise? Because we've been staying home with deadlines. And what we did at Pepco too is that we produced Zapagerm. We did our own brand of sanitizer, like rewind 2 years ago, like everybody was like, so I did overtime. I worked my butt off. Anyways, So I asked for a raise. I did prepare for this, for negotiation. And oh my God, I was so pumped. Can you guess what his answer was? Of course, he said no. I was like, you know what? I'm out of here. When I told this story in my group, people were like, oh, so this is why you only work with women. I'll say only because the other day I coached a man and I was like, hey, if you're a man and you recognize yourself, despite the queen's branding, despite the crowns, despite whatever I talk about, because if you choose to work only with women, there are topics that you will talk about that you wouldn't talk about if you're addressing to adults, like, I don't know, periods, maternity, hormones, all that stuff. And if a guy can just put this aside and still connect with me, oh my gosh, crazy. Oh my gosh. Anyways, so when I told that story, the girls were like, oh my God, I understand so much now. And I could have told myself, how does this make me look like? I
Hoping this is just temporary. I don't know if you could hear us, Marie, you're paused right now. Yeah, she might have to come back in.
She just sent me a message on Messenger and she's experiencing some hydro flashes at the moment.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So she's trying to reconnect.
Okay.
What I find interesting about this topic of storytelling and vulnerability is I think it creates an opportunity for us to connect with our clients and customers and not just be the logo or the beautifully aesthetically appeasing content that we put out, right? I think that when we can feel confident in being vulnerable and to share our experiences and who we are and our passions and why we're doing what we're doing, that creates those moments to build those relationships with the people who are that we're attracting towards our business, right? Does anyone have anything that they want to share on that regard, and maybe any challenges that you might be experiencing with storytelling and what you're sharing with your clients and customers?
Yeah, I'll share. And pardon me, I've had a plumber here for 2 days in and out, so I'm kind of doing my best to listen in and be active. So just a little quick, I teach and guide others with conscious relationship, which starts with yourself and going back into childhood and understanding your conditioning and your wounds and whatnot. And I feel like it's a constant dance with clients where I agree with what Melissa just said, is having this non-perfection to bring to the table to others is really well, because part of our conditioning as women, in my opinion, is to be alluring and magnetic and beautiful all the time and smart and all these things that just in reality isn't who we are, and in being whole isn't to be perfect. So I think that's a great note to mention. I feel with clients, it's a challenge because in my experience, they often say you're really intriguing and you've done a lot of inner work and you have skills to be, healthy conflict resolution style and whatnot. So they want to spend more time and ask more and more and, even go for coffee and And so having healthy boundaries is always a good thing. And knowing you're doing your own inner work on a regular basis is so key, I believe, because it's hard in every moment to be conscious and say or do the right thing or not say or do the right thing. And to really hone in on, you know, is this a wounding? Like having awareness all the time. Is this my wounding that's showing up? Am I trying to fix or save others? Am I trying to be a people pleaser? There's so many roles we take on from childhood. So just doing your own inner work on a regular basis, I'm sure you ladies know, but I feel is key to help with clients and boundaries and your own journey. So yeah, thanks for listening. And I really enjoyed everyone's shares. So thank you for sharing too.
Thanks for sharing, Kara.
Thank you.
Hi. So the hydro flashed like twice today. I was praying. I hope it doesn't happen when I'm there, but it did. Okay, so I have like 2 more slides and then we're off because you have another guest in like probably 2 minutes. Okay, I'll do this really
Yeah,
quickly.
you've got a couple of minutes there. It's 11:53,
Okay.
so go ahead.
Okay. So where were we? Okay, so I didn't really read this in a book, but I just thought of how could women be vulnerable and not come across as attracting pity or nagging or, still be leaders, yet connecting deeply. So if you share something that occurred in the past, you could and should explain and demonstrate how you overcame this challenge. And bonus, if these tools are what you use with your customers today. If you are sharing something that is happening in the present, it could be a good idea to explain how you plan to overcome this and how this is not fun right now, but thanks to whatever you've learned and put in place and integrated, how this will serve you. Do you see the difference? Big difference. I see a lot of women that want to open up and they say, oh, this happened, and they stop right there. And I'm like, oh, do you need a hug or should I like this or give advice? It's not clear. They are really not guides to me anyways. It's sad, but it's the truth. And of course I teach this. So I'm really, I have like these antennas right here that like scan this really, really quickly. So lastly, I want you to speak from the heart and have fun. So what you control are your thoughts, your reactions, your intentions, your content, and your choices. So just have fun. Because what you don't control are reactions and perceptions of others, comments, shares, views, the algorithm, and sales. Let's face it, the algorithm right now in Facebook groups has dropped. Everybody's using this commercial everyone feature. Some are happy, some are unhappy with that. What am I gonna say? All my clientele almost comes from that group. Am I gonna give up? Am I gonna blame Facebook because they changed the algorithm? Hey, they can do whatever they want. They own the platform. What could I do to crank up the engagement? Maybe go live more often, maybe ask more open questions so they would, oh my God, I'm gonna show you something really, really, really quick, what I did yesterday before I went to bed. I shared that I will be stepping out my comfort zone today because I'm doing my first English workshop. And I asked them, I took this opportunity to say, hey, I will do like a resume of how it went in my newsletter tomorrow. Are you subscribed to my newsletter, by the way? And I asked them, when did you step out of your comfort zone last? And like they either congratulated me, celebrated with me. I know I did inspire them. So I did this for two reasons. First, hey, I wanted to show off, like, why not? And I wanted to show them that it's possible. Because I did to go back in the comments and add more stuff and said, like, what happened is I live in Hearst, Ontario. I wanted to launch my business. I tried to go for grants. I had no idea that Pero existed at that time, like no idea. So, and I was looking for French Facebook groups, communities in Ontario. I couldn't find anything. So this is the reason why I launched my business in Quebec, because entrepreneurship is as challenging as it is. Why would I launch in English? I launched in French because it's my first language. Like, I'll give myself a break. But now, 2 hours later, although I have a charming accent, I am really comfortable being with you today because I know my topic. I have social proof. I did experience it. I have lots and lots of hours of coaching. So everything happens for a reason. The universe conspires for you and life is good. Thank you for having me. I had a blast. It was so fun.
Oh, thank you so much. That was really good. Yeah, I really found that very interesting, and just having that, what makes us human, right? And having that, to share that anyways, yeah. So it was really great, and I really appreciate you, and I'm sure that everybody else does, for this great webinar, and we would love to have you back.
I would love to be back.
Yeah,
because
for
I
sure.
have lots of material to translate too. Like, I did my Canva by picking up bits and pieces from whatever else I had. And one other thing before we leave, we all want to be credible and gain trust. But what happens if you create educational content all the time, it's going to be redundant. I see that with virtual assistant and most importantly, social media manager. They will talk about how to crank up your algorithm, how tricks to do this and that and this and that, avoid this, do that. Okay, but you're like 25 to say all the same things. What differentiates you from her? Why should I trust you or not her? Like, and all this information could be found on Google, Wikipedia, YouTube. People need to connect with humans.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. And Melissa put Marie's Facebook page in there. So if you wanted to connect with her, please reach out. Like I said, we'd love to have you back in the new year. And thank you so much again. And thanks for everybody for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day.